Welcome to Biztech's C-Suite Conversation Show. Our guest today is Paul Sigaloff. He's the Yahoo Vice President and Head of Asia Pacific. Yahoo is a global media and tech company that's been around since the start of the internet. And in the past 20 plus years, its place in the global tech ecosystem has evolved. But it's still a very, very significant player in the Asia Pacific region. Now, to tell us more, welcome to the show, Paul.
Thanks, Brian. I'm really appreciative that you're having me, and it's great to be here.
Now, Paul, I've got to make a disclaimer to our audience here. I'm a little bit of a Yahoo fanboy because my Yahoo email address is Brian_Fernandez@Yahoo. So I think that was done in 94 or 95, a long time ago. But so
Love
Paul, tell us about Yahoo and walk us through its evolution.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, you must have been one of the pioneers, because Yahoo was actually founded in 1994. And it was actually one of the founding companies of the internet. So for the best part of nearly 30 years, Yahoo has been at the world's premier global technology and media business. And I think the way I want to describe that is if you were to remove the company name, and let's just talk about the assets in our portfolio, it's a really diverse and phenomenal business. So firstly, there's a big play in email. And as you mentioned, you're a Yahoo customer, but we're in the top 3 global mail providers. And if you think about our apps, they're highly rated in both the iOS and the Play stores. Then there's also a search business, and we all know how big and lucrative the search marketplace is. So it's amazing that, Yahoo still has a play there. We also have a digital publishing business. So we've got a suite of iconic brands from Yahoo News, Finance, Sport, etc. And they attract close to 900 million people who visit our brands every month. And they make it one of the 3rd most visited internet properties globally. And then you think about advertising technology. We've had a lot of proprietary technology that we've built. We've also had acquisitions, and we've integrated a number of different buy-side and sell-side platforms and our native platform into what we affectionately call the unified ad stack. So this ad tech business powers much of the media industry. It's actually the largest independent unified ad tech platform globally, and it serves both our advertisers, but it also serves publishers. And then you think about our creative studio business. So again, think about augmented reality, virtual reality, Web3, and a lot of brands are sort of interested in wanting to pioneer around that. And so we're doing a lot of test and learn in this space. And all of these incredible assets belong to Yahoo, which is one of the most recognized brands of all time. I suppose what's changed recently is that Yahoo was acquired by Apollo. And so Yahoo is in this kind of new transformational phase. And we're really about driving value creation across our products and our brands. And off the back of some really strong business momentum and profits, we're accelerating our business, and we're taking Yahoo to that next level, building on these solid foundations.
Okay, that's a lot of things that you're doing right now. You've always done well in the Asia Pacific region, even when you were having challenges in the US. How are you fighting to stay relevant in a marketplace that is dominated with the likes of Facebook, Google, and now TikTok?
Yeah, look, I think really it comes back to that point of focusing on driving value creation through our iconic brands and our advertising technology. And to your point, we're winning across the board, and we're performing really well across the APAC region. So if I think about the consumer side, firstly, we're evolving as a key destination for news, finance, sport, and our lifestyle content. And when you think about today's audiences, we're also looking to attract a new generation of users. And you touched on TikTok, but a lot of our brands actually have a strong presence there, engaging with those younger audiences. So globally, we have that huge scale, 900 million consumers. And in a world where consumers have got less time and more choice, it's great to see that our audiences across APAC are growing. Then you think about our ad tech business, and that's another example of our evolution. While in the past we talked about competing with the scale of Facebook and Google, we operate very much like an independent player, and we're more collaborative. Yahoo doesn't operate as a walled garden, and we put our consumers and our partners first. So Yahoo is all about bringing that massive scale across every kind of digital screen. We also have that first party data, which is really important. We have independent measurement, and also we're very focused on servicing our customers. And the ad tech business is a really interesting piece to dive into, because we've had now 8 quarters of double-digit growth, and we really are looking at building on this enormous momentum. And really what's driving that is our trusted customer relationships. We're also delivering really positive business outcomes for our customers, and we're also leveraging our first-party data. And you add that with our premium owned and operated inventory. You also have third-party inventory, and that really is delivering huge performance for both our advertisers and our publishers. So really, there's a lot happening. There's a lot to unpack. And then innovation is probably the last piece I would talk about that. So we have this cutting edge content production studios, and that's global. So we've got studios in LA, in London, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in Sydney. And we think about our XR stages. We're doing a lot with augmented reality. We're doing some really cool stuff with motion capture and volumetric capture. So you think about, as people are starting to shop more online, what are some of the things and capabilities that we can create and develop across that? And that's really, I find, very exciting, how we can kind of introduce this new technology to our customers and really help them navigate some of the content creation for Web3 and the virtual world.
Okay, so Paul, I have to say that a lot of your competitors are actually along the same path in terms of strategy. How are you different? Because what you've just told us is in some ways very similar to what the likes of Facebook and some other ad platforms basically are focusing on, moving towards augmented reality, moving towards the metaverse, moving towards a creator economy. How are you going to distinguish yourself?
Look, that's a great question. So I think maybe what I'll do is maybe talk through 3 of the emerging trends that we're seeing, and then talk a little bit about the trends, and then double click on what Yahoo's doing and how we're different.
Okay.
So if we think about, we're seeing huge changes to identity. So right now, nearly half of the brands in Asia Pacific rely on third-party cookies. And commonly we're used to, understand what consumers want, to track performance and understand how their digital marketing campaigns are actually performing. But obviously, due to a lot of the forthcoming changes with iOS and Chrome and third-party cookies, really we're trying to identify, new solutions to help people learn about that. So I suppose, how is Yahoo different when it comes to identity? Well, we've been planning for a long time, and knowing that these changes were coming, Yahoo's built solutions ahead of time. So Yahoo Connect ID solves for when an ID is present. And really that's all about tapping into our identity graph, which brings together a significant amount of opt-in data through, our mail and other products and services we run. And that's about compliant first party, second party, and third party data signals to build a comprehensive user profile. But also we're aware that, we have a new product called our next generation solution. So this really is about solving for when an ID is not available. So what we do here is we leverage Yahoo's unique data, our machine learning, and real-time signals to really infer, audience characteristics in a privacy preserving manner. And we've had over 11,000 publishers and really important domains like BuzzFeed and Shopify and Newsweek that have all adopted our connected ID. And we've had more than 2,000 advertisers that have already activated a lot of that first party data. So, that's really exciting when we think about data. Changing gear a bit, one of the other trends we're seeing is sort of advanced television, digital out of home, and really this kind of shift to omni-channel. So a lot of businesses I'm speaking to now want to adopt this omni-channel approach. And given the acceleration of digitization, and I think the pandemic, was a big catalyst for that, the aim is, how do you connect with consumers across the digital ecosystem, but in a really seamless way? And I think that's kind of a very exciting way to look at that. So what we're seeing is that our full stack enables basically this notion of unified planning and buying and measurement for omni-channel campaigns. So when we talk to advertisers, they can actually manage their digital media in one platform. They can do it across the entire funnel. So what that does is it gives them a 360-degree view of their omni-channel campaigns, and then they can access premium supply across Yahoo, but also from a lot of our publishing partners. And then when you think about advanced television, digital out of home, audio native, web, display, and mobile, all of these formats are available through the omnichannel. And then we think about our strategic partnerships. So when we think about ATV, Samba TV is a great example of a partner that we're working with. When we think about digital out of home, we're working with partners like JC.co and Hivestack. And that's really helping us amplify that omnichannel opportunity for advertisers. And then you reference kind of XR and innovations. I mean, there's no getting away from it. The metaverse is here, and we're seeing consumers are super hungry for innovative and immersive experiences. And brands have this enormous toolkit to create experiences which can range from AR to fully fledged Web3 experiences. And I think that's kind of really exciting. And what we're doing is we're testing and learning. So we're really helping those brands embrace that immersive technology. And if I can touch on a couple of examples, certainly in the region, our Yahoo Creative Studios team partnered with Doritos, which is that great snack brand. Mm-hmm. And if I think about the Philippines, what we did was we delivered a really engaging, authentic brand experiences through an AR game where people could play and basically search for virtual Dorito chips to win exciting prizes. And that had huge usage and a great way to get people to kind of engage on that. And another example that I'll touch on quickly is this whiskey brand called Monkey Shoulder. And in pre-pandemic, they used to have sort of DJs and festivals where they would have their brand present. But obviously none of that happened during the pandemic. So then we created, a virtual event in the metaverse in Decentraland, where using our volumetric capture, and lots of millions of people were there, we could create DJs and have product placement within that. And that was just a great example where they could take their offline strategy and bring that through into the online world. And, so it's examples like that that really, I think, are helping to get traction.
Now, Paul, could you share with us an example of, say, a large corporate CMO that's used you for a 360 campaign that basically will touch on different technologies and platforms within the Yahoo ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, look, that happens all the time. If I just think of an example, and we had Advertising Week APAC last week, we had Optus, which is obviously a big telco partner. And so we'll work with Optus on a whole raft of different things from, how do they get more people to, sign up and have, mobile phone plans to broadband. And if I think about the funnel and the campaigns we use, that's really, really key. But in one of the campaigns they wanted to sort of focus on, it was really all about passion points and sport. And so over in Western Australia, there's a thing called the Western Australian Football League, and they were conscious that a lot of fans at that point weren't able to travel over to Perth to watch the game. So we worked on them with a metaverse example where we created these virtual avatars, and we had, I think, 25,000 avatars that were created during a live game where people could actually attend and be in the stadium even if they weren't physically there, and they could have their team colors. And it was just a really lovely way when we think about connected stadiums and actually adding a multi-layer approach to kind of create more fun and engagement with their existing customer base and showcasing some of their creativity and technology. So that would be kind of an example of one of the ones that we look at.
So Paul, some of the examples you've shared have been really, really interesting. But just to give us a sense, across the Asia Pacific region, which are Yahoo's strongest markets and which sectors are you getting a lot of traction?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've got a really strong presence across, Asia. When I think about, where we have kind of great traction and penetration, obviously, Australia, New Zealand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, India, Japan, are all really important markets for us. And, we've come off the back of, tremendous sort of double-digit growth off, a number of different quarters. So I think the one thing about APAC is it's a wonderful region, but it's hugely diverse. And so what we look at is how do we create strategy? How do we work with the MDs of the different countries? And we see all of these global trends and we look at global technology, but I like to call it global scale, but local autonomy. And then we say, look, here are some really great horizontals across our strategy that you can access. But what makes sense in Singapore? What makes sense in Taiwan? What makes sense in Hong Kong? And what are the things that we can double click on based on uptake of digital out of home? Or if we look at India, we're seeing, huge, consumption in connected televisions. So how do we sort of leverage all of those different dynamics to really, understand what makes sense in those countries, so we can get the most amount of traction? So yeah, it's not a cookie cutter approach, but certainly what we're trying to do is work smart and ensure we're not sort of reinventing the wheel in each country, and we're kind of regionalizing some of the good things that we're doing. And B2B activations would be another great example. We had Advertising Week APAC, which was actually in Sydney last week, but we had people flying from all markets, and we're trying to create these programs of B2B engagements across the region as well, but in a way that kind of makes sense for all of those different markets.
Now, Paul, I've got to ask you something that is so critical to every leader in the region, especially in the technology sector and marketing sector, which is the war for talent.
Yes.
How are you dealing with that, especially post-pandemic?
Oh, well, look, that's, firstly, let's acknowledge the pandemic has certainly accelerated digitization across the board. And, we're seeing huge demand from consumers around differentiated content, unique experiences. And I think as a result of that, everybody is staffing up. So I think, there is definitely that war for talent, as you mentioned. And I think brands are having to rethink how they deliver these experiences, from the metaverse to all of these other kind of immersive experiences, and screens are everywhere. I mean, so this kind of notion of omni-channel is there as well. But I think for us, at Yahoo, it's all about putting human and helpful at the heart of everything we do. So when we think about what is a better world of work at Yahoo, it's really rooted in two things: flexibility and inclusiveness. And, we want to focus on productivity and the output, regardless of where you're based, whether you're at home or in the office. Obviously, I'm in the office today, I'm in our studio, and our office remains open. But what we are is very flexible, and people can come and go as they please. And employees have, been supported. We've had things like a work from home setup and allowance. We've recently introduced this notion of floating holidays again. We want to support people's different philosophical and religious and personal beliefs. So again, if there's a holiday where they don't philosophically agree with, they can choose to take or celebrate that day at another time. We've also started to look at our work from abroad policy. So what this means is people are able to work from abroad for up to 30 days per year. And what we found and observed is a lot of our team have taken this up, and currently they're working from their home countries because they haven't had the opportunity to spend time with family. And this provides a really nice vehicle to do that. And also, it's about embedding what we call our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging into everything we do. And that's around from hiring, from our learning and development. So we've just rolled out this inclusive leadership program, which was fabulous, and also around employee engagement. And for me personally, I'm on a bit of a quest. And so mental health has been a massive focus. And traditionally, employees have feared about opening up for mental health. We've also had a high period of productivity. So, it's about sustainable working practices, trying to avoid burnout. Prevention is better than cure. And so how can people open up about mental health issues in the workplace, and making sure that, we have people that are mentally healthy first aid accredited across the globe. and really fostering and understanding, working with our employees. So, we just want to make sure they're set up to succeed and they've got the best possible resources at their disposal.
Now, Paul, looking ahead, what can we expect from Yahoo in 2022 and 2023?
Yeah, look, I've shared a lot today, but I'll just pick on one word: growth. That is really what we're focused on. It's a super exciting time for us to be in APAC. The markets are diverse. We're expanding our opportunities across our omnichannel and our full stack. And, what's great to see is that we've got tremendous momentum. Not only did we have great revenue growth, but we had positive industry sentiment. I think in 2021, we had 72 industry awards. Already in 2022, we've clocked up 32 industry recognitions.
Congratulations.
And I believe that with our global scale and our local autonomy, it's really about accelerating that growth and creating meaningful value for our customers and our businesses that we partner with right across the region.
Now, Paul, it's been a fascinating conversation, but before you leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience with?
Look, I think, it's how can we help you grow your business as well? I think that's a really important thing. So ultimately, we're excited to be on this new trajectory. For us, it's about listening and understanding with our customers and how we can extend being human and helpful to you and your businesses so we can have sustainable, profitable growth into 22, 3, and 4.
I'm going to remember that: human and helpful. Thank you very much, Paul, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Brian. It's been great to see you.
Now, we've been speaking to Paul Sigaloff, the Yahoo Vice President and Head of Asia Pacific, on Biztech's C-Suite Conversation show. This video and podcast will be on our social media platforms, as well as our syndication partners and our website, www.biztech.asia. Please like and subscribe to our various platforms. Thanks again for tuning in.